What happens when a little boy walks into a courtroom filled with cold stares, bitter silence, and the scent of justice about to be served? When he raises his tiny finger and points at the police officer, nobody expected what came out of his mouth next. It was so powerful, so heartbreaking, that the entire courtroom gasped, and even the toughest of men wiped away tears. Stay with us till the end of this story, because what you're about to read is unlike anything you've ever seen, and trust me, you won't forget this moment for the rest of your life. Don't forget to subscribe for more powerful stories like this that uncover the truth, one twist at a time. It was supposed to be a normal court hearing on a cloudy Thursday morning when the judge walked into the courtroom with his gavel in hand, his eyes scanning the room filled with murmuring voices and tense expressions. But nobody, not even the most seasoned of attorneys, knew that today, a little boy's voice would shatter the courtroom's walls, expose a painful truth, and change the lives of everyone involved. 7-year-old Liam sat quietly beside his foster mother, legs swinging nervously above the courtroom bench, clinging to a small, worn-out teddy bear he'd named Brave. His wide, innocent eyes darted between the intimidating courtroom figures, the stern judge, the cold-faced lawyers, the jury trying not to look at him, and then the man in uniform, Officer Daniel Grayson, the hero, the officer who had supposedly saved Liam from the dangerous home he was taken from, the man everyone had trusted. The judge leaned forward and said, "Bring the child to the stand." And the entire room fell into a heavy silence as the bailiff gently walked Liam to the witness chair, helping him sit and placing a small cushion behind his back. The prosecutor smiled warmly and began with soft questions: his name, his age, what grade he was in, and Liam answered with the quiet politeness of a child who had been told to be strong. But when the defense attorney stood and began asking about the night Officer Grayson came to take him from his parents, things started to shift. Liam looked down at Brave, held him tightly, and trembled. "Can you tell us what happened that night, Liam?" the lawyer asked gently. Liam's lips quivered. Then he looked up and his voice shook. "He told me to be quiet. He said bad things would happen if I spoke." The courtroom murmured. The judge demanded silence, and Officer Grayson's confident face twitched for the first time. The lawyer's eyes narrowed. "Who said that to you, Liam?" And Liam slowly turned, lifted his finger, and pointed directly at the officer. "He did," Liam whispered. Gasps filled the room like a wave crashing against stone, and Officer Grayson stiffened. The lawyer asked, "Are you sure?" And Liam nodded slowly, then took a shaky breath and said something that would leave everyone stunned. He said, "My daddy was bad, but my daddy was crying and begging him not to take me, and then he hit my daddy, and said if I told anyone, no one would believe me, because he's a police officer." The judge's gavel slammed against the desk in vain, trying to calm the uproar of whispers and shocked expressions. But it was too late. The truth had broken loose like a dam bursting open. The prosecution's smile faded, and the defense attorney glanced toward the jury, who now stared at Officer Grayson, not with admiration, but suspicion. But that wasn't all. Liam continued, voice stronger now. "He took pictures of my room. He moved stuff around and made it messy. He told the lady from the state that my parents were dangerous, but they weren't. They just didn't have enough money, and we ate cereal for dinner. But they loved me. They sang songs at bedtime. And my mom cried every time I had a cough, because she was scared I'd get sick like before... A tear rolled down Liam's cheek, and Brave, the teddy bear, fell to the floor unnoticed. The room was frozen. The judge leaned forward, eyes narrowed. "Mr. Grayson, do you wish to respond?" But before the officer could open his mouth, a new voice broke in. "Your Honor, I have a motion to present," said a woman from the audience, walking confidently to the front. She was an investigative journalist, Maya Cross, who had been covering suspected corruption in local law enforcement. "I have evidence, recordings, documents, and testimonies from other families separated under false reports submitted by Officer Grayson. The courtroom turned chaotic again, and the judge ordered the bailiff to seize the materials. Grayson tried to protest, but his voice cracked and his eyes darted wildly. Liam was quietly taken back to his seat by the bailiff, where he hugged his foster mother tightly, who now looked equally shaken. As the judge reviewed the initial evidence presented by Maya, the truth began to unfold like layers of rock beneath. A perfect-looking surface falsified reports, edited crime scene photos, coerced testimonies all tied to Officer Grayson, who had been praised for rescuing children from supposedly dangerous homes. But the real story? A web of lies spun to build his reputation, increase his promotion chances, and cover up a side hustle he had started, working with corrupt adoption agencies that profited from fast-track foster placements. The courtroom gasped again when Maya revealed that Liam's case wasn't isolated. 4 other children had eerily similar testimonies, and all had been removed under Officer Grayson's care. The judge ordered immediate detainment of Grayson, and as he was handcuffed, his cool demeanor crumbled. He begged, pleaded, saying he was only doing his job, but the damage was done. Liam, the little boy with the teddy bear, had become the accidental whistleblower, the voice of truth that pierced through the armor of a system gone wrong. The judge called for recess, but nobody moved. It was as if time had frozen in that courtroom. Liam's parents, now sitting behind Maya, were in tears. They had been in legal limbo for months, labeled unfit, stripped of their parental rights, and painted as criminals until now. The judge glanced toward them and said in a voice thick with emotion, "This court owes you more than an apology. It owes you justice." That day, an emergency motion was filed to reunite Liam with his parents, pending a full investigation. As he ran into their arms, the courtroom stood in silence, some in awe, some in grief, some in guilt. The media outside exploded with headlines within hours. Child exposes corrupt officer in shocking courtroom testimony. And Maya's investigation went viral, prompting federal involvement. Officer Grayson's past cases were reopened, and several other officers were also placed under review. But for Liam, it wasn't about justice. It was about love, about going home, about being with the people who tucked him in at night and whispered that he was their world. And as he left the courtroom that day, holding Brave in one hand and his parents' hands in the other, he looked back one last time at the courtroom, at the people, at the faces of those who had doubted him, and simply smiled. Because sometimes the truth doesn't need to scream, it just needs a little boy with the courage to point. And that courage, in the end, left everyone speechless. Let me know if you want this broken into multiple paragraphs, or adapted for voice narration or subtitles.